This video will describe how to write morphophonemic rules for infixes. So we have here some verb stems, and there's one infix, in, and the rule inserts that infix after the first character at the beginning of the stem. So we see here the infix is always after the first character. And for this video we're going to write two morphophonemic rules. One rule will say that if the in is preceded by a vowel, so the verb stem begins with a vowel. If it's preceded by a vowel, then insert an epenthetical n at the beginning of the prefix, of the infix. The second rule will say that if the infix is followed by a consonant, then delete that n from the end of the infix. Okay, so we'll write two rules. The first one says, if an infix is preceded by a vowel, insert an epenthetical n. So, this is a morphophonemic rule. Now when we look at infixes, there are two possibilities. Infix as prefix, infix as suffix. And I want to explain that. Here's a verb, walk, and it has an infix. Now, infixes have two morpheme boundaries, but morphophonemic rules can only deal with one morpheme boundary at a time. So here's how we handle that inside TBTA. The infix, if we say infix as prefix, then we're saying the infix is a prefix to the remaining stem that comes after the infix. So if we say infix as prefix, we're dealing with this morpheme boundary. If we say infix as suffix, then we're saying the infix is a suffix to this part of the stem, in this case only one character. But we're dealing with this morpheme boundary here. So here in this rule, we want to say infix as suffix, because if the infix is preceded by a vowel, so we'll say infix as suffix. The included infixes are ABC. Now here the stem doesn't change, but we want to say the stem ends with a consonant. If it ends with a vowel. If the stem ends with a vowel, we're going to insert an epenthetical n at the beginning of the infix. So the beginning of the infix changes. We're going to say epenthesis, character to insert is n. And we'll leave the beginning of the infix blank. It's always an I, but we don't care about that, so we'll leave it blank. You haven't specified any characters for the suffix. Do you want this rule to apply to all the suffixes with the specified tags? We'll say yes. So now we see that if the stem begins with a vowel, then instead of in, we have nin. If the stem begins with a consonant, then we still have our regular in. Okay? That's the first rule. Now let's write another morphophonemic rule that says if the infix is followed by a consonant, then we'll delete the n from the infix. If the infix is followed by a consonant, then delete the final n from the infix. This will be another morphophonemic rule. Now this time we're saying the infix is a prefix to the remaining part of the stem. So we'll say infix as prefix, and the included infixes will be ABC. So this time the end of the infix changes. The end of the infix is n, and to delete it, we'll just leave this blank. The stem doesn't change. We want to specify with phonetic features, and we'll say if it's a consonant. So by beginning of stem, we're saying the beginning part after the infix. So if this is a consonant, then we'll delete the n from the infix. And we see now, if this part of the stem that comes after the infix, if it begins with a consonant, then that N is gone, the final N from the in infix. If the stem after the infix begins with a vowel, then the N is still there. Okay?